Good morning and happy Tuesday, Lehman College, JSU, Notre Dame, and Purdue. Welcome back for another great day of science. Yesterday, we started a brand new unit, and today we'll start by introducing ecosystems. So remember, this unit we're taking on the role of ecologists. And ecologists are scientists who study ecosystems. They observe ecosystems to draw conclusions about them. Today we'll learn about a problem with an ecosystem in Costa Rica. We can see from this map that Costa Rica is in Central America. New York is around in here, and Costa Rica we can see is pretty far away. It's all the way down here. This is a photograph of an ecosystem in Costa Rica. What kind of ecosystem do you think it is? What type of organisms do you think might live there? Hopefully some of these plants and animals came to mind. These are some of the plants and animals that you would see in a Costa Rican rainforest ecosystem. So as I was saying yesterday, in this unit, we'll take on the role of ecologists working for a natural resources rescue. So this is a group that works with that works to protect and save fragile ecosystems around the world. What we mean by fragile ecosystems is they're not quite healthy ecosystems. So they need a lot of work and a lot of help so that they can get their standards up to par, so that they can have healthy animals and healthy plants. We have a project report from the Natural Resources Rescue about a problem in part of the Costa Rican rainforest ecosystem. For the next few weeks, we'll think about how to solve this problem. So let's take a look at our diagram. It says Costa Rican Rainforest Restoration Project Report number 1. This is what it looked like 10 years ago, and this is what it looks like today. So as you can see, they need a lot of our help, a lot of our great ideas, so that we can get back to something like it was 10 years ago or even better. The project area used to be a healthy rainforest. Then cattle ranchers burned down the rainforest so that they could use the land as grazing area for their cows. And for those of us who don't know what grazing area is, this is an area where cows are bred and where they're able to eat and get big and healthy and strong so that they can be sold off for people to use in butcher shops and places where we would buy meat that we usually eat. This photo shows the same project area today. A few years ago, the cattle ranchers left and took the cows with them. They planted trees so that the area will become a rainforest again. So as you can see, there's a huge difference in the way that the area used to look and the way that it looks today. Notice we don't have any cows. There aren't any other animals roaming around. The grass doesn't look very healthy. So they need a lot of work and they need our help. Natural Resources Rescue worked with volunteers to replant the project area. They brought in young cecropia trees and other important rainforest plants and planted them. So already they've done a little bit of work, but they still need some help from us. Next, we'll look at some information comparing the project area to a healthy rainforest area nearby. This can help us understand a lot more about what tasks that lie ahead for us as we help them to restore their rainforest area. The area nearby was not burned for cattle ranching, and it remains in its original state. So if you notice, this area has quite a few pieces of data that we should pay attention to. So I'm going to give you about 14 silent seconds to take a look at the data yourself, and then we'll come back together and discuss. All right, eyes on me in 3, 2, 1. So we see that there are jaguars, three-toed sloths, Ceracopia trees, and land area that are being compared here. In the first column, it says organism count in the project area, and then organism count in a healthy rainforest. So this gives us a pretty good comparison of the way that things are in comparison to the numbers that we should see in this column. So let's take a look at jaguars. We noticed that the jaguars have a pretty good difference in count. You have only one jaguar in the project area in comparison to 4 that are in the healthy rainforest area. As a matter of fact, all the numbers in the project area are a whole lot different. They're a lot less than the numbers in a healthy rainforest. So we see that not having a healthy rainforest is going to decrease the amount of trees, plants, and animals that are in this area for us to observe. So over time, as things get a lot worse, we would probably expect for these numbers to decrease even more. So it's possible that these animals and these plants could become extinct. Now let's take a look at some more interesting data. Here we see the average weight of adult animals in the project area versus average weight of adult animals in the healthy rainforest. So in the two different categories, we see that the weight differences of the adults are completely different. The animals in the healthy rainforest area are way bigger than those of the project area. So what that probably means is if they're not having a lot of plants and animals in the area, it's probably really difficult for the animals to get food, which means that they're not going to be able to grow up to become adults, which means that a lot of them probably won't be able to reproduce. And this could be pretty much the beginning of extinction, like we were saying earlier. So that's something to really think about. So we see from all of this data that if we don't have a healthy rainforest for these plants and animals, it's possible that they could become extinct and we won't have them around anymore. So our tasks as ecologists will be to investigate why the animals aren't growing and thriving in the project area, and then 2, to make a plan to improve the health of the animals in the ecosystem. So that's what we'll be focusing on during this unit. So take a second to think. What do you think it means when the Natural Resources Rescue Report says that the animals aren't growing and thriving in the project area? That's pretty interesting. We're not expecting them to exhibit any of our thrive values from Creo, but what does that mean to grow and thrive? I want you guys to think about that. Email me your ideas because I'm very interested to see what you guys think about this topic. So in chapter 1, we're going to be answering the question, why aren't the jaguars and sloths growing and thriving? So for today's assignment, we're going to be looking at a lot of different ecosystems and then just writing down our observations. So for the do now, we are going to write down, we're going to answer the following question. What is an ecosystem? Again, we talked about some of this yesterday, but you may also want to rely on the information that you know from fourth grade on back. Do now, silent and solo. You may pause the video and begin. Eyes on me in 3, 2, 1. At the top of your page, it should now read Introduction to Ecosystems. We are going to look at the different ecosystems, figure out what are some things that are going on in some ecosystems and not in others. You're going to write down any observations that you see after you study the diagram for 30 seconds. And you can type whatever observations you see below. You can maybe make notes of the different animals that you see. Also, you can make note of different plants and even some of the non-living things that you see, like water, rocks, things that cannot grow. Or you can make a note of how these different living and non-living things are interacting with each other. So maybe certain animals need rocks to survive. Maybe some of the plants need some of the non-living things to survive, or other living things to survive. These are things that you want to write down in your observations. We have 3 different ecosystems that we'll be looking at today, so you'll follow the exact same directions for each of these 3 diagrams. Introduction to Ecosystems, silent and solo. You may pause the video and begin. Eyes on me in 3, 2, 1. We're now on our exit ticket. For our exit ticket, I want you to think about the illustrations of the 3 different ecosystems you observed. Write about an animal that lives in one of those ecosystems. What might help that animal grow? Answer each of these questions in the table below. So in the table, we've broken down all of those questions. So all you're doing is writing incomplete sentences in the space next to each question. Which ecosystem did you choose to write about? What animal will you be writing about? And write some interesting things about this animal. This can be your observation or a fact that you may have found online. And what might help that animal grow? If you would like to get bonus points, you can copy and paste the picture of the animal that you wrote about in the space provided below. Exit ticket, silent and solo. You may pause the video and begin. Thank you so much for another successful day of science. Happy Tuesday. Make sure you enjoy the rest of your day. Make today positive and productive. If you have any questions, as always, I'm available during office hours from 12 to 3, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.